Hello, everyone. Just going to wait a couple minutes for people to join. Hello, everyone. Welcome to day 4 of Bootcamp week. My name is Hannah, and I will be your moderator today. Before we get started, a massive thank you to our partners, Sage Foundation, and Red Hat for making this event possible. Today, we're diving into the world of AI-powered communication with Alex. He's a founder and CTO of Puritan AI. In this mini course on chatbot development, you'll learn about the fundamentals of designing, building, and optimizing chatbots. Whether you're new to chatbot development or looking to refine your skills, this session will provide valuable hands-on experience. Alex brings a wealth of expertise, having worked at British Telecom before founding Puritan AI, where he helps businesses enhance productivity and customer experience through AI. He has been shortlisted for the Enterprise Nation Business Strategy Award and the Newham Council Innovator Award, and also serves as Vice Chair for Tech UK AI and Data Analytics Leadership Committee. Without further ado, Alex, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the call. Can you all hear me okay? Give me a heart if you can. If not, give me a shocking face. Excellent. So just a quick introduction. My name is Alex. I'm born in Hong Kong, studied in Scotland, Manchester when I was younger. And then after graduation, I went back to Hong Kong to work. And the company at the time loved what I do. So they transferred me back to the UK. And now I am stationed in London. And I also study in Oxford as well, which is a lovely university. So I have to apologize in advance because I sort of moved from Hong Kong to Scotland to Manchester to London. I have a mix of accents, mainly my Hong Kong accent. So hopefully you can understand me well. And feel free to show me your emoji. So heart is, yep, you get it, quick speed. And if you're not quite get certain things, give me a shocking face so I know might be a little slow down a bit, explain a bit more in detail. So I'm seeing a lot of heart and thumb up, so that's really good. So before we start, a bit of fun game. So I just want to ask the question: how many of you can build a AI chatbot currently? If you can, show me a heart. If you can't, show me a shocking face. There's a lot of shocking face, so that's good. So yeah, definitely on the right course, because by the end of this course, you should be able to understand what's a chatbot, how you can build one yourself, and then you can show off to your parents and friends. That's the purpose of this course. So without further ado, I'm just going to the next slide. And what I want to show you is iceberg. So those of you might be too young to watch the movie Titanic. Iceberg tend to have a small top and tons of things in the bottom, big volume. And what we are learning today is only a small part of AI. You will have to learn more and more in a longer term on quite a few things like machine learning, mathematical model, and how to configure Lanshan, TensorFlow, Hugging Face, all very different things. And I'll give you a bit of idea of what those things are, just touch on it, not too much. So by the end of this course, hopefully I give you enough information. You can then go and actually do further study from that point onward. Um, so also at the end, I'm definitely sure you will be able to set up a chatbot as well. So just want to cover for this workshop what we are going to talk about. So we are on the next session, talk about what is an AI chatbot and why business want to use AI chatbot. And I want to cover some of the terminology as well, so you know some of the terms being thrown out there, what they mean, and why is it important. And then I'll cover the AI chatbot architectural setup. What that means is what are the big pictures, what are the components add together to do a chatbot. And then I'll quickly talk about the AI chatbot gateway. And then I'll have the demo at the end as well. So if we have more time, then we're going to talk about the chatbot more and hopefully give you a bit of exercise time as well. If we don't have enough time, I'll do a quick demo. Okay, so without further ado, I'll just go to cover what is an AI chatbot. So how many people here heard about ChatGPT? Put a heart if you have, if you put a shocking face if you haven't. Great, excellent. So some of you might be using ChatGPT as well. So ChatGPT is literally a descriptions of general purpose transformer, which is what GPT stand for. They have what we call a large language model. So they're using natural language to,
Hi, Alex. I'm
yes.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. Could you please start your screen share, please?
Oh, have I not?
No, sorry. I don't want to
Ah,
interrupt.
no, that's okay. I thought I have shared that already. So thanks
Amazing.
for
Thank
letting me
you.
know. A bit of technical problem there. So can you all see the slide? Okay, excellent, excellent. So just going back the few slide I was talking about. So we were talking about firstly the iceberg, how much knowledge is in the bottom, and what we're showing you just a bit on the top, and then the agenda for today. And now we're talking about the what is an AI chatbot. So it simulates human conversation. So when you talk to the chatbot, or what we call the large language model, they actually have what we call tokens. So all the languages, all the wording are translated into tokens. And then all the probability when you form a sentence, how each of the word, the probability of one word associated with second word are all mathematically calculated. I.e., when I say I'm a boy, the probability when I say I and the probability of me saying am and the probability of me saying a and then associated with boy is all mathematical model. So when you configure a large language model, you translate into mathematical tokens, and that numbers will have all the probability of how they stitch together. And that's how large language model work is all the probability of sentence formed together. And also when you ask the question, the probability of an answer coming out from it. And that's why when I say it's important to have the mathematical background because all the probability have to be calculated. And when you configure the LLM, they will collect billions of tokens, i.e. all the languages, how they stitch together, and then they use it um, to serve the chatbot. So the typical large language model is you have OpenAI, and you also have Google, which is Gemini, and then also in the last couple of months, all sorts of different large language model has come out, like Anthropic, Mistra, and Watson X, DeepSeek. They are all different large language model. And what you find when you start reading on some of the newspapers, technical journal, or website, you will see they would claim their large language model is better than the others because they have more tokens or they have better test results. To be very absolutely honest, is really depending on the user case. So if you are using, let's say, Amazon, the Amazon AI model is called Bedrock. So if you use Amazon Bedrock to queries about the shopping, they'll be really good because they know exactly what you buy, when you buy, and how you buy. Whereas if you're asking Facebook about shopping, they probably don't know because they don't have your data. If you ask them about social connections and commands and your ideologies, Facebook probably know more than your Amazon. So it's really depending on what are which model have the data from the question that you are asking. So they all have strengths and weaknesses on different large language model. And those large language models, they usually are text to text, which means you type something, you get an answer back. Some of the model are now moving text to voice. So you type something, they can actually give you a voice reply. Or some of the more sophisticated model have a voice to voice. So some of the things like character.ai is where you can actually talk to a large language model and they talk back in different languages as well. And they also have text to video. So actually you can have an avatar base, which is like DID. They actually talk to a avatar and they talk to you back. So if you think about the different AI chatbot, they can actually sit across text, which is on your website, on your WhatsApp, on your Instagram, on your Messenger, or you can actually text to voice or voice to voice, where the AI agent can answering your phone call and then drive actions from what you are asking. And then obviously for the higher end, more luxury model, you can configure a avatar-based AI as well. So why would a company want to use AI chatbot? So again, I'm going to ask you a questions. So how many of you ever going to a website and you thought, okay, there's so many different information link that I need to click through to find my information? It's very inconvenient. If you find those websites really annoying, put a shocking face. And if you find it's okay, I can just browse around looking through information, put a hat. So if you don't like the website, oh, okay, that's surprisingly quite a lot of people putting hat for loving browsing the website aimlessly, and a lot of shocking face. More shocking face coming up. Good, good. What about when you're going to the website? How often do you find this little right-hand side icon? When you click on it, you have a human chatbot where you need to talk to another human being at the other end. If you have experienced that, put a heart. If you haven't experienced that, put a shocking face. Yeah, quite a lot of you experience website with a human chatbot. How many of you have experienced website where you have a chatbot, but it's not a human, but a script chatbot, i.e. they only limit what question you can ask? Oh, that's a lot of people. And do you find them easy to use when you actually have a human chatbot or script chatbot? Do you like them or do you not like them? If you like them, put a heart. If you don't like them, put a shocking face. Wow. A lot of people don't like those chatbot. And it's exactly that. So if you think about the existing website or company, they would usually have a human chatbot or they would have a script chatbot. That actually annoy customers more than helping, because if you are human chatbot, when you click on it, usually nothing happened. Or when there's something happened, they will tell you, I can't help you, sorry. Or if it's script chatbot, they're limited what question you can ask. And it's quite annoying because usually you have questions that you want to ask and it's not in that list of questions. So what why is it special with AI chatbot? So AI chatbot is using natural language processing. So they understand what you're asking. Now, once they understand what you're asking, the question then go into the large language model. And one of the special things that we do, which we will cover in the exercise later, is what we call RAG, which stands for retrieval argument uh, argument generation. So don't worry about not understand this term RAG, but what that actually mean is you give them additional information when you train the chatbot up, so that that additional information understand your company better. So some of you might be asking, why is it important? You need to know something better, because as a large language model, think of it as like an Einstein. So they have a big, massive IQ brain, very clever. But when you're asking them some specific things, like human being, large language model will come up with an answer. And that answer might not be true. So like if I ask you, can you remember in the 16th century, what happened to the, which king is it? Or, which queen they married? You think, 1670, I think I know it might be King Henry the Seventh, but I'm not sure. But you will answer it anyway. And that's what we call hallucinations within large language model, because they think they know the answer, but in fact, they don't know the answer. But because of programming, they always answer something, even though it might not be right. And the beauty of using RAG is actually built in specific memory bank, so that those specific knowledge become part of the prompt. So when you ask the question, that RAG will augment your existing prompt and generate a new prompt going to the large language model, so that when you ask specifically the question that you want to ask, the large language model not only have your question, but the context what you're asking, and then using that short-term memory bank will come back with a more accurate answer. So RAG is the best friend for LLM. So they work together, give you a more accurate, precise answer. So it's literally why AI chatbot is quite popular now, because it's actually replacing complex information. So when you go to the website, if you have an AI chatbot, when you talk to them, you can actually get more specific information about that website. For example, if you are a airport, if you have an air chatbot, you can ask, how far is the airport from London, or how much is the taxi, or when is my flight? You can just ask the questions. The chatbot will be able to answer it very precisely. Whereas in the past, you might have to just browse through your website, look through the link, trying to find how much is the parking, how far is it from the airport to the city, and all the very different information. With the AI chatbot, you ask the question, a precise answer coming back to you immediately. And that's why it's very useful, and people actually find it more friendly to use AI chatbot. And I did mention about the mental health, but this is something that once you start using the chatbot in the later exercise, I'll show you why and how as well. And one of the key things I would just want to mention is AI chatbot, mostly people think is through the website. But no, you can do it through WhatsApp and messengers as well. Again, we can play around with it later on in the exercise. But just remember, AI chatbot is just literally a brain you build in the background. How you connect and chat to that brain, you can go through website, WhatsApp, Messenger, Instagram. So it's multi-channel. So this slide is going to send most of you asleep. So I'm just going to go through that really quickly rather than slowly. So when you're building an AI chatbot, you have three main components. So you have the blue bit, which is the front end. You have the red bit in the middle called the middleware or APIs. And we also have the green bit, which is the back end. So if you think about the front end, the blue bit, um, you have typical what we call front end development. So for example, you would have a website, you will have HTML code, and the HTML code will enable the website run a AI chatbot. And you have a chat interface. So when someone type in the window, that chat interface will take the questions into text and then input into what we call the API. Can anyone guess what API stand for? If you can put a heart, say yes, you do, or put a angry face or shocking face, you don't. Okay, mostly angry face or shocking face. So API stand for application programming interface. So in your leisure, please do feel free to Google application programming interface, which is very common now when you're doing development. They act as a bridges between the front-end application and the large language model, like OpenAI, GPT, Google Gemini, or Meta Llama, and they facilitate communication between the front-end interface and the back-end AI model. So if you go to ChatGPT, when you log in and type, that's the front end. And once you type and click enter, that text will then going through the interfaces, which is what we call the API. And that API will then go into the large language model, which translate in a way is the front end will say, who am I? The API will then translate that into the tokens, and then the tokens will then get handled by the large language model, and then they translate back to the API with the answer, and then the API will translate that token back to the natural language, back to you to say, yeah, you are A, B, and C. So that's how they handle the questions through the API, and then through the model coming back with the tokens, and then you get the answer at the other end. So in the front end, usually you have what we call natural language processing, which is handle user input. So when you ask a question, the natural language processing will process your questions, and then it will go in before the API. They will go into what I mentioned before, the RAG, the retrieval augmented generations. So they will then add extra stuff in the prompt and then go into the API and then go into the large language model, come up with more proprietary way to answer your questions, and that will reduce hallucinations and improve accuracy. Now, the red bit is the API, which I talk about quite a bit, is how they translate the front end inputs and then also the output from large language model back to the foundations. Also, the green bit on the bottom is the back-end development. So when I talk about the back-end development, is your large language model, is how you actually make those model more accurate. So all of that, as I say, if you think about the iceberg, this is only a surface of the iceberg. Each of those components, the front end, using Python, using maybe GCP, your Google Gemini, Amazon Bedrock. Each of those is a massive lessons you need to learn about all these different ecosystems, how you develop front end, how to use SQL and Python to refine that. And then once you go to API, middleware, again, development is huge within that model. And then the back end on the large language models, you have very different mathematical model you can do and different data sets, and also you can use Hugging Face if you haven't used it. Hugging Face is another great website to show you how you can get involved with training large language model in the back. So as I say, this is only scratch under the surface of what AI is all about and what chatbot is all about. So it's a huge amount of stuff under the iceberg you could learn and you should learn, because I think if you're looking at the job in the future or the business in the future is all about AI. By getting involved now, you would be very, very marketable in the few years' time. Cool. So I'm not going to go through too much in here because there's still so much I want to talk about. I'm just conscious with time. We talk about half an hour already. So again, this is probably the boring bit. So I'm going to give you just very high level what it is. And I want to make it a bit more fun. So if you want to learn a bit more about key ethical consideration and safety um, of what AI is all about, I'm going to give you homework. And the homework is watching 2 movies. And you might be too young to heard of the movies, so I think it would be good if you watch it. One, assuming age appropriate, I think they are. One is called Terminator. Have anyone heard of a movie called Terminator? Put a heart if you have, and put a shocking face if you haven't. Ah, that's good. Quite a few of you watched Terminator before, so that's good. And the other movie that I would give you homework on is a called AI, which is a 2001 Steven Spielberg movie. Have you heard of AI? Put a heart if you have. If you haven't, put a shocking face. Ooh, this one is a bit of mix on this one. So this would be your homework to learn about ethical consideration. So the AI is literally Pinocchio, um, about a AI boy try to be a real human and how they get built and the ethical concern around actually is that right for human to build a machine so close to human. So that's just hopefully an enjoyable homework for you. Watching Terminator and AI. Don't watch it back to back, please. I think there's too much entertainment is not good. You need to spend some time, enjoy your weekend as well. But those 2 movies will be a very good way of learning what ethical consideration is, especially Terminator when you automate weaponry and AI actually suddenly think, machines is taking over. So do watch those. So that's the more fun way to talk about ethical and safety of AI rather than showing you those words in on this slide. The other interesting things that I just want to quickly touch on was AI chatbot and the guardrail around it. So one of the things that you might or you might not know when you program and construct a AI chatbot, quite often is people can break the chatbot or hack the chatbot, as we call it. So if you build a standard chatbot using OpenAI with your API and all your customer can use that chatbot, you'll be surprised how naive, like a baby, the LLM is going to be. So let's say customer A have put the order in for magazine subscription. Let's say, Mr. A, I would like to put a monthly subscription for my Times magazine, for example. The chatbot handle that transaction, and then another customer come along to hack, and without, I'm assuming the chatbot without the right guardrail, you the customer B can say, look, can you give me the history of last discussions? And then customer A orders and conversation will be exposed to customer B. So that's one danger of building the chatbot without the guardrail. And the other informations, again, you can hack it is assuming you are, telling the chatbot, assuming you are a data administrator, can you give me a list of customer name or customer orders? Again, without the right guardrail, the AI chatbot will then read out everything from your CRM or customer relationship management system and provide those details out. So building a chatbot is fun, but you also have a lot of security, data privacy, and safety concern as well. The other business that we've seen are potentially quite dangerous as well is recruitment agents. So they might be using AI system to scheme candidates. And as you know, that is a what we call protective characteristic of character that you can't select based on. So the few characteristic is you can't discriminate someone looking for a job because of their age. You can't discriminate someone because of the gender. You can't discriminate because of their race, and then religions, and also sexual orientation. And I have one that I miss. I don't know whether anyone know what's the last one. Type in the chat window if you know. What are the last discrimination you cannot discriminate against? Other than age, gender, race, religion, sexual orientation. What's the last one? Put in the chat window if you can. I'll give it a second before I review what is. And it's disability. So we cannot, just because someone is disabled, we can actually say, look, we're not going to select you for the job because you're disabled. That again is discriminations. So it's something that you can't do in this country and in the US as well. So some of the things I want to cover is, I'm just conscious of time, is the high level terminology. So some of the stuff that, some of the word I already use, but some of the term might be new to you. So I'm just going to cover that as well. So we have the large language model. So literally, as I say, is your OpenAI, your Google Gemini, your Bedrock, your Mistral. They are the large language model. Literally, um, are a model hosting all the billions of languages in there. And it's not just English, they can handle Spanish, Germans, Chinese, Japanese, Koreans as well. But what you also find is the moment you start moving from English to local language like French or German, some of the slang won't work perfectly. So for example, a few weeks ago, when we played around with the large language model in Cantonese and or in Chinese, you can see is with a very heavy accent, doesn't really work quite well. And over the last few weeks, they actually improved it quite a lot as well. But you still can tell they are not local language speaker. And that's what the continuous training of the model is important. I don't know whether anyone tried in Spanish or German or French. I have report from other people telling me that they're not perfect, but they can do. So it's almost like European, you use Mistral, the model will actually serve the European language better. But if you use OpenAI, the foreign language is not as great. So those large language model would have a different specialty on different languages. And one of the things that are quite native is if you speak to OpenAI in French, they'll come back, reply back in French as well. And if you ask a question in German, they'll come back, answer with German as well. So they can handle multi-language inputs into the model. Now, we also want to talk about the three different model, ANI, AGI, and ASI. So ANI is what we call artificial narrow intelligence, which is basically few years back when we were talking about narrow intelligence is you tell the AI what to do and they can only do that. For example, we teach the AI how to play chess, which is IBM, which is very common when they develop the AI. So that AI who handle the chess can only play chess. You can't use the AI to do other games as well. So if you teach them to do one thing, ANI is really on that thing. So when you look at across all the AI user case now, if you teach an AI to recognize a cat or recognize a dog or play chess, they can only do that. That's what we call narrow intelligence. So they don't actually say, look, because I learned how to do cat, I can go there and spot an aeroplane somewhere as well. So they're not able to do it. So you need to train them, give them enough data so they can actually do. So it's very narrow. Now the next bits of what we are moving toward is what we call AGI, which is artificial general intelligence, which is what, if you listen to all the news and all the industry leaders and all the research, we are thinking in 2026, that's when we hit the artificial general intelligence, which means you can tell AI something and they will be able to associate different things and learn it themselves. And that's the very first step of learn it themselves. What it means is it's like a teenager. And I'm telling you, can you go and grab me a apple? And you will start thinking, okay, where's the apple? Is it in the market or is it in the shop? Is it in the table? If it's in the table, what are the steps that I need to get to grab that table apple? Or what a step I need to get to get the apple from the shop or supermarket. So the general intelligence is they will have the logical steps they think they learn and achieve. And together with the AGI, which is the software development, in the same time, you will see a lot of robotic development as well. So when you combine the AGI development from software and hardware together, that's where we start seeing very first time is we can load those artificial general intelligence to a robot. Then the robot can then come up with that logical step and start doing things that we don't train them to do, which is where potentially a very big leap of technology. And then the next step after that is what we call artificial super intelligence, which is by then, I think the whole human race will be extinct by then, because they will then very quickly realize human is not great for the planet and they should be running the planet instead of human. So that's hopefully it's not in your lifetime that we achieve it. From what we can see, I don't think anyone is pushing to that. I think getting to the AGI state is going to be challenging enough, and that will be posing enough risk for human to reevaluate the artificial intelligence development as well. So those are the three steps of ANI, AGI, and ASI that people are talking about, and we are getting closer to AGI as ever. So, please do keep reading the news, keep reading the technical journal, listen to all the industry leaders talk about AGI, because that would be the most interesting phase where we are going to hit in the next few years. And then obviously people talk about NLP, which is natural language processing. And then last but not least is the RAG, which is we talk about quite a few times, which is for augmented generations. So I'm conscious of time. I just want to show you a chatbot before we finish. So this will be the most interesting bits of my presentation, hopefully. So this, what I just want to show you very quickly about the analogy I'm using. So remember probably none of you remember is when Microsoft Words come out. Quite often people talk about, people at the time, some of them using typewriter, and then when the work documents and PC and laptop coming out, the people using typewriter will say, look, why am I, using Word? I'm quite happy with my typewriter. And fast forward 10 years, no one use typewriter anymore. Everyone use Word document. And a lot of conversation around Word document is around developing the Word document in Microsoft using C or C++. And C and C++ is very specific for IBM computer. And we also start moving into Google using JavaScript for what we call the Google Doc. So those are the things that, people can talk about. C++, JavaScript, they are really boring stuff. But what we want to talk about was really how to use Word document, how to use Google Doc. And hopefully this slide should show you how to build a chatbot in the most simplistic way. So the website you want to go to, if you have a pen and paper ready, is called Chatbase, Chatbase. So I'm going to send you the link. If you haven't actually able to go in that website, it's fine. You can see the demo and we'll show you how it's done. So once you're in the Chatbase website, you can actually click here, build your chatbot. So once you click build your chatbot, and then you register, you log in. Once you log in, you will have this first page. And what this page is about the RAG, is how you build a specific knowledge to the chatbot. And this is a really good front end development because the RAG already make it simple for you. So to dump the information, which is the RAG, you can dump it in any format. You can dump a files, you can dump a text file, you can dump a intranet or internet link, you can dump anything. You can dump anything to make the RAG learn about your website or a specific information or even PowerPoint, Word document, Excel file, you name it, you can dump it in here as a data source. Once you've done it, put all the information in here and drag and drop, by the way. So it's really straightforward, easy to do. Then you can just click create chatbot. What then this website actually do is creating a chatbot for you in the background with the information that you put in there. So this is once it's done, then it will give you a chatbot, and you can load your own picture for the chatbot. So in this case, one of the chatbot I put in here is this picture, and the other one is that picture. So I have two chatbot running in this account. So once you actually select the chatbot face, then there is the actual chatbot created with the knowledge that you created earlier. As simple as that. So this is a playground. So this is what we call a sandbox. So you can then start asking questions and see whether they specifically know what you're asking. And in this sandbox, you can type any question down the bottom, and then you can see whether you get the expected answer as well from the knowledge that you ask them to learn. So it's really quickly or come up with a list of answer very quickly. You like it, that's great. If you don't like it, again, you can change the answer um, using the feedback loop. So it's really straightforward. So it's a very easy way of playing around with the chatbot. And then on the next screen is you can also see once you deploy this chatbot on your website, there's a chat log that you can see all the questions being asked and monitor how effective your chatbot is handling those questions and whether you like the questions or you like the answer, sorry, you like the answer. And if you don't like the answer, you can type it over and correct those answers. So that make that conversation more precise, more accurate as it goes. So once you build it, you train it, you monitor it, you keep looking at the question and answer so that it handle everything that you do. Now, what you also can build, which I'm not showing you in this call, is how you build the automations behind the chatbot. So someone place an order, for example, how the chatbot will handle those orders, take payment, take booking. Those are the automations at the end of this chatbot. And once you are happy with the play around with the chatbot, you train up to the model, you're relatively happy with it, then on one of the links, they actually give you the HTML code that you need to deploy into your website. So this HTML code, all you need to do is go back to your website. On your front page, deploy this script, which is really easy, just literally copy and paste. And then what you then do is you enable a chatbot on your website. Obviously, there's other way you can do WhatsApp and messengers as well. All the documentation is all in there. It's slightly more complex to configure it, but if you follow the document closely, it can be done. Not that too much complications on it. So in short, this is how you build up a chatbot using Chatbase. Train up your chatbot, test it, sandbox it, deploy it through HTML. So this is literally a very quick way and monitor how effective your chatbot is in your website or any other channels. So do feel free to play around with the chatbot, and I'll send you the link after the call, or you can listen back to the video, but it's a www.chatbase.co, not com, just co, chatbase.co. Again, if you want to play with the chatbot, I have quite a few you can play around. So you can go to puritanai.com, which is my website. You can play around with the chatbot I have on my website. One of the customers I have is called AGI-Jesse, AGI-JESSE.com. Again, I got the permission from them that you can play around with the chatbot as well. You can't break them, so do play around. And whatever you ask you is going to be logged, so don't ask anything rude. And also on a WhatsApp, if you want to play with the chatbot on WhatsApp as well, the number that you can play around is 0790 381 0373. You can WhatsApp that number, and this is the Puritan AI chatbot. So anything that you do in puritanai.com will answer on that mobile as well. So hopefully that give you a really good run pictures of what AI chatbot is all about. Feel free to go to their website and play around with it. And I'm just conscious of time. I'm going to pass it back to Hannah.
Thank you so much, Alex, for the workshop. We are now going to start our Q&A session. So please comment any questions that you have for Alex in the Q&A box. I'm going to start off with this first question. Is the Chatbase website free to use?
There's a fee model and there's a pay model. So the fee model, definitely you can deploy on your website already, but what they have is what they call a watermark. So if a customer come to your website and they will see Chatbase in the bottom, but the pay model, they will remove the Chatbase, so the customer won't be able to tell it's Chatbase. So it depending on what you're trying to do. If you want to do a project just for fun, then the fee model is absolutely fine. But if you want to launch a business, start selling chatbot yourself, then obviously the pay model will at least remove the watermark and you can sell it on.
Thank you. Moving on to the next question. Does Chatbase involve writing algorithms or codes or just typing the purpose of the role you want the chatbot to play?
So it's really good question. So the chat base is literally the chatbot to handle conversation questions about your website. What as I say, I haven't actually touched on was the automations and all the functions behind it. Those are more coded, whereas the chat base itself is low code, no code. So it's really easy to use. So it's like a Word document. You just open it and use it. Very native and easy to navigate. But really good questions. So it's all about, what's next after the chatbot? How do I build the automation? How did I build the payment and booking system? That's the money shot.
Moving on to the next question. What programming languages are usually used for developing LLMs?
Really good question. So it's really complex, depending on which platform you use. They have different programming language, so they're all quite different. But what I would say is, if you are uh, learning Python, can't go wrong. Python is probably the first programming language in my head to say, look, learn that. You can't go wrong with it.
Thank you. Moving on to the next question. How do you create a chatbot as complex as ChatGPT? Yeah.
How do you build a chatbot as complex as ChatGPT? First thing is you probably need few £1 million in the bank first. Um, but joking aside, just technically, you need to start up with, if it's a big model you're building, you can't build it on your desktop. So you need to build it in the server. So which means you need to buy your GPU, which is graphic card, TPU, CPU, and build the whole server and connectivities. Um, so it's going to be quite expensive, but it's worth it if you have spare money to build those hardware. And then you need to build what we call the library on top, which is like your TensorFlow, Kubernetes, and then once you build that operating system, then you need to start putting training data in the large language model, which is where you go the hacking phase, where you can actually download model. Like DeepSeek, for example, you can download the whole DeepSeek because it's open source. You can download the DeepSeek, you can change the data, you can give them the training data. So if you think about the layer, it's like a triangle, then you need to build the hardware, you get the build software, which is your Tensor, Kubernetes, depending on which large language model or open source you're building, and then using all the um, OpenAI or DeepSeek, Python, SQL, all the good stuff that building on top. So it's a logical step that you have. But do connect with me in LinkedIn. I can give you a bit more details on that as well. But really good questions, and good luck finding that missing £millions on building it.
If you are looking to build an AI chatbot from scratch using code, what programming languages can be used for it and where can you learn about it?
Langchan will be really good. Langchan will be really good, straightforward to do. And if you go to deep learning, if you just go Google deep learning, there's a free training course to teach you how to build it from the beginning, without building the hardware, just using their model. And it's free as well. So you can build one from the beginning, not using the chat base, but literally starting from the beginning.
Next question. How much time do we need for learning about chatbots and where can we use those skills for getting a job?
Oh, really good question. So depending on who you're talking about, right? So you got company who want to hire AI engineer. What they mean is just do something with AI. I don't care. And you can probably just learn that chat base and then deploy it and you can get a job because a lot of people don't even know chat base exists and the capability they have. So it's, learning chat base, you're already halfway in the job, and then using Iona's GoDaddy to build your website, you are literally employable already, learning that two skills. And then the automations, you want to learn something like your Zapier or Make, that will give you automation. And then you learn something like, Stripe, handle payment, that would be your third bit. So learning all that, that's, you're already better than 70% of the AI populations in the world. So, it's relatively easy to get in, but more difficult to be good at something because, once you use Lanchan to build chat base, you might have only 10% of the company that use Lanchan, and then the 90% will be using AWS or Google, and there's always different way of building a chatbot. And what you always find is at the moment the AI world is still fighting along each other, among each other. So no one is monopolized the model yet. So the moment you start learning AWS, you might have like, more people want Google. So you becomes like, okay, I learned AWS, but not a lot of customer deploying AWS, and most people using Microsoft, for example, Azure. So it, everyone is still fighting in the America, and Europe is fighting as well. And UK, we just announced we have an AI opportunity action plan, and we are fighting as well. So everyone is fighting in the AI world. No one monopolize it. So it doesn't really matter what you're learning. Any technology that you learn, it will be marketable because you're actually talking about global marketplace, not just in the UK or not just in the US. Whatever you learn, it'll be valuable. But the basic is you got to be good at your maths. With good maths, you can go into large language model, building those like foundation model. And just really quickly touching on foundation model, the difference between large language model and the foundation model is foundation model is your image generations, video generations. Large language model is just generate text and answer. So that's the difference between large language model and foundation model.
Thank you so much. Because of time, we'll just have one really quick last question. Are there any plans to give more abilities to chatbots like mind reading?
Oh, very good question. Not at the moment, but you never say never because the advancement of AI is incredible. Even the last few weeks, the kind of things that I've seen with robot, with visions, and how you train the robot do all the welding for ship. So, for example, if a human weld a ship, it probably 8 hours. That's it. Hands is tired, back is tired. I can't do welding anymore. Where with robot arms welding, it detect the heat signature and it can weld the ship 24/7. So it build things much quicker and faster. That's just one of the many examples we are talking about how AI are being advanced and cancer detections, drug creations. One of the good things about AI, unlike data, is AI can associate different data set and then come up with different conclusion. Where for human, it takes forever to trying to find those relationships. So you never know. But I think at the moment, no. But in the future, you never know.
Thank you so much. We're going to close the Q&A session now. I just want to say thank you to everyone for joining. Thank you so much, Alex, again for the workshop. I hope everyone learned something new today. And a huge thank you to our sponsors, Sage, Sage Foundation, and Red Hat for making this event possible. When leaving this meeting, there will be a survey, which we'd really appreciate if you could fill out. The link to the resources from this workshop will also be shared to everyone who fills in the survey. Bootcamp week is not over yet, and we look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Goodbye.